Welcome to Farmington High School. Thanks for you all for coming. I think this is honestly one of the biggest crowds I've seen here in a long time. So, yeah, orchestra represent. Very nice. Cool. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. I encourage you all to take as many pictures as possible, especially there's a whole group of section in Symphony that looks just like me. Encourage you all to take as many pictures as possible, but please no flash photography. It does distract our performers up on stage. Clap when you like to, hoot and holler when you like to. Just don't hoot and holler at me when I'm falling over off the stage. Cool, so we're first gonna hand it off to Caitlin Mahalko from East Middle School and Troy Dawson. We'll give it, yeah. Caitlin deserves a round of applause. So, we're also introduced just a little bit. Not all good things. All good things. All good things. So again, Caitlin Mahalko from East, and Mr. Troy Dawson, who is the long-term sub at Power right now. Anyway, Caitlin Mahalko.
I'm glad I wore my heels. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for being here tonight. I'm going to try not to talk too much because same. Yep, same. Right there with you. Really proud of these kids. They were knocking it out of the park when we were rehearsing earlier. They've been working really hard, upping their skills into the intermediate level. So we're playing two pieces for you tonight, Gargoyles and Gauntlet. And we're going to start with Gargoyles, conducted by Mr. Dawson. Please enjoy.
What are we gonna do? And what?
Thank you so much. Bear with us for a moment while we switch groups. Thank you. Can we give another round of applause to our 8th graders? That was amazing.
love changing the seasons. It's great, especially on wooden instruments. Love it so much. Okay, before you on stage is Concert Orchestra, our entry-level orchestra here at Farmington High School. Their first piece is called The Telltale Heart, which is based off the classic story written by Edgar Allan Poe. So you hear a lot of cool, interesting things if you know the story well. It kind of ties into the music really beautifully. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Couple of things before our next piece. You'll notice up on the boards, you'll actually have QR codes for the U of M versus MSU fundraiser. Again, at the end of the concert, right before the last piece, whichever university has won more money, we will play the fight song at the very end. As a Spartan, I think the green one's a little bit better, but yeah. Just so you're aware, this was started 4 years ago. Sure, we're going to say 4. No, 5, because I wasn't here for it. Either way, this thing has been going on for a long time, and I don't think MSU has ever won. So, like, that's more. So not to help out at all, or not to like encourage you to like cheat, but like you can take pictures of that and send it to all your family and friends and the dean of MSU. Like, just a thought, whatever. On the actual QR code, just a couple of clarifying things for that. You'll see that there's a fee. You can actually drop down the menu where it says fee and put 0. There's no fee actually involved. It's just a weird website that we use has that happen, but there is no fee, so it's 100% free for you to use. So if you get to that moment on the page, drop down, no fee, life's good. Cool? Yay.
Oh, wait!
Those are fighting words, dude. You need to calm down. I saw red in eyes, not in like, yeah. Although I have toyed with the idea of like we didn't raise a certain amount of money, we play a certain fight song from down south, well then spend money, guys, come on. Okay, so our last piece for concert orchestra is called Curse of the Rosin Eating Zombies. I know, 11 out of 10 name. This piece, you may hear some crunching, some eating, possibly some screaming, and possibly some bows breaking. Possibly. All possible, not 100%. I hope you enjoy. in and have that really nice job. Double check bow lengths, everybody. Double check your bow lengths. Make sure you're good. All right. On stage before you now is the Philharmonia Orchestra. This is our first of 2 audition-in ensembles. So everyone here has auditioned to be in this group and has to kind of almost re-audition every year to kind of be in. 8th graders, you have the opportunity to be in this ensemble next year. You'll get more information in April. Hooray. Cool. Yeah, you can be here, it's okay. Cool. So our first piece that Philharmonia is going to play for you is "This Is Halloween" from the Night Before Christmas. Again, one of those things where you can start watching it like 2 weeks ago and kind of keep watching it all the way through till January 25th for some reason. It's great movie. Really complex rhythms, really complex notes and variables and stuff like that. And they're doing a really, really nice job with it. So hope you enjoy. Our last piece that Philharmonia has for you is called Fright Night. It is a combination of a lot of different spooky songs that are throughout the piece. It's not really spooky. A lot of things are actually just normal, common, classical melodies, but they've just been put under the umbrella like, ooh, spooky. So it's a great piece. Just a little fun fact. This is actually the same exact program Philharmonia had 3 years ago, or four school years ago, 3 years ago when I first got here. When I first got here, I only had 2 weeks before this concert actually happened. Seniors, we know. Yeah, it was a good time. And I always wanted to redo this program because it's such a good program that this is. And I only had 2 weeks to do it, so now actually having a month and a half to do it, it's just really, really awesome. I'm finally like, yes, we did it. So again, I hope you enjoy Fright Night. Awesome. This is your last chance to make MSU the winner tonight, so get on it. Not the little kid saying, no, man, come on. Right. Anyway, all right, so give us a couple of seconds. We're going to transition to our last group symphony. There's a little bit of extra stuff we have to do. So, again, you have time to donate more money to MSU and U of M. Okay, cool. We'll see you in a second. Thank you.
Oh, geez. Oh, boy. Hello. Sorry for the delay, folks. So there's this piece that they're going to play that's like really cool, but it has special effects. And of course, someone clearly has sabotaged the power supply up here. And Mr. Trains is working really hard. Did it work earlier? Yep. Ugh. Ooh, I wonder if the auditorium's haunted. We're really dedicated to the vibe tonight, right? You know, I bet we could activate a dad crew. No disrespect to moms, because I'm the handy one in my house, I get it. But I bet. Mr. Trains, if you need help, do you guys know what I'm talking about, where you see like someone gets a new lawnmower and all of a sudden you see like all the dudes of the neighborhood just standing there watching what's happening with their New Balance shoes on? And I was told to come up here and cause a scene, so here I am. I don't know if you've met me. Hi, my name's Miss Mahelko. Thank you. We had a real fun moment in 6th grade orchestra today. Those of you who were in my orchestras, you'll remember this. Remember the practice bows? Any of you out here in the medical field? We had to have emergency surgery in my 6th grade 6 hour today. We learned how to scrub in with the hand sanitizer. One of our practice bows, a student, was of course being real responsible with it. And it broke into 4 pieces. We were getting ready to stage a New Orleans-style funeral procession for said practice bow, because listen, let's be honest, it was the end of the day and I had very little attention span left. But then I was like, hold on, we can fix this. So I had a couple students. One said her mom was a nurse, brought her in. Another one said he had 2 family members who were in the medical profession, brought him in, prepared my station. We had some tape ready to go. We had some Elmer's glue ready to go. They scrubbed in with the hand sanitizer, and a miracle was performed today. The practice bow lives. It's got lots of duct tape on it, but it survived another day. Yes. We could what about like cell phones and flashlights? No. Can you get them? What about cell phones and flashlights? Can we do a cell phone flashlight? Or we can have some parent volunteers. What about if
piano bike, so not a full day teaching and then another day of like speaking on top. Our next piece is called Cannonball. It does introduce a quartet, 2 violas and 2 cellos. Really, really cool piece. You'll enjoy it. We'll get stuff here in just a second. Thank you. Also, this is really the last shot of this, so if you haven't made a donation, you have last chance. Do it now. Or go green or whatever. It's like, you know, I'm not partial. All right, the moment we're waiting for. I'm getting mixed signals. I'm still getting mixed signals. Okay. Are we sure? Okay.
Phil kids, sit in between the symphony kids.
Sit on, like, kneel on the floor between their chairs and hold the flashlight. You gotta tell them when to take the flashlight.
Alright, so. Alright, so while they're figuring that out, a couple last announcements before we go. Sorry for all the lieutenants and difficulties. Again, talk to your school board. Yay. So, I don't have totals for. Well, it doesn't matter. Alright. Okay, so our last group is called Dark and Shadows. It's kind of turned into like a bi-yearly kind of situation going on. We had something cool planned. I think it's still going to be cool. I think. But we'll see. It'll be fun. I hope you enjoy our week. Last thing before we go, high school parents and or middle school parents, student parents, as you know, the high school just got a whole mess of new uniforms for all the concert programs here and eventually the marching band as well. We have all that stuff now. We've now received it. It is now time to start fitting 115 orchestra members, 110 band members. So if you have the knowledge, if you're interested in volunteering for anything of that nature, it would be coming into school or after school. If you have any interest or any knowledge, if you just need to help out, if you want to help out, I would love it. Talk to Miss Kate Martin's back. Not Kate Martin. Amy Martin, Kate's daughter. Amy Martin or Sophia, oh my god, that's the other author. And Ashley, I'm dying, it's okay. So there's two parents in the back by the table there. If you are interested in volunteering, please go see them. It would be very, very helpful for us. Cool? Again, I hope you enjoy our last piece, Dark Shadows. Okay, listening. When the person take the person with you. If they're your standard, you take them with you. Well, you're going to hold their hand and gently take them up. And look at your lead lines real quick, double check, make sure you are good and not have a path of least resistance. Honestly, y'all, memorize the last 4 bars. Okay?